Kuzangpo, and welcome to this writing class. I'm Pratima Rai from Kanku Middle Secondary School. The target students of this lesson is classes 9 and 10 students. And in this lesson, we will be discussing how to write an introductory paragraph for an expository essay. And the objectives are, you should be able to list the components of an introductory paragraph and also write an introductory paragraph for an expository essay. Now, before we start our lesson on introductory paragraph, let us have a quick revision. I say revision because definitely we are not going through this expository essay or any kind of essay writing for the first time. Back in the school, right from class 6 onward, we write essays. So the revision question number 1 for you is, what are the components of an essay? I'll give you some time to think, and your time starts now. Right, your time is up. I'm sure you have answers very similar to what I have here. So the components of an essay are 1. Title, then we have introduction or introductory paragraph, followed by body paragraphs and conclusion or closure. So in order for a piece of writing to be qualified as an essay, it's very important for that piece of writing to have these components in them or in it. If a piece of writing contains these elements or components, then we can differentiate it from rest of other genres, such as let's say short story and a poem, for example. Now, another crucial point that I would like to make here is, as a class 9 or 10 student, you are required or is prescribed by a curriculum for class 9 and 10 students to write an essay consisting of 5 body paragraphs. So 5 body paragraphs here would be inclusive of introduction, followed by 3 body paragraphs and then a closure. Now, let me also bring to your attention here that this is not the mandate for an essay, because you will realize that as you get into university or college later in your life, you will find out that the number of body paragraphs in your essay will start to vary. It will not remain as 3 body paragraphs. So the introduction will be 1, but the body paragraphs will increase. For instance, it can be 8, you can have 8 body paragraphs or 12 body paragraphs. It will entirely depend on the kind of assignment questions that you receive. And then the other thing I would also like to mention here is, sometimes our students write essay which at times introduction would be missing, and sometimes the body paragraphs would be just 2. Such type of essay are not accepted by our curriculum. According to our curriculum, you have to write 5 paragraph essay. And I feel that for a beginner writer like you and me, this is good enough. Now with this, let's look at the second question. Second revision question is, list down the elements of an expository essay. You will be provided with think time again, and your think time starts now. Right, your think time is up. I hope that again you have your answers very similar to mine. And you see that the first element of an expository essay is explain, define a topic to provide information. Now, let's look at this. It says an expository essay when you write an expository essay, you need to explain or define a topic in order to provide information. So we are basically talking about the purpose of an expository essay. Last time when descriptive essay was aired for class 9 and 10 students, in that presentation as well, it was mentioned very clearly that it's, every writing has a purpose. There should be a purpose behind when you decide to write. And the essay, within essay we have different types of essays. So if you remember the lesson on that descriptive essay had talked about how it is important to describe, because the purpose of a descriptive essay is to describe, and then how the use of sensory details and imageries and figures of speech is a very important component of a descriptive essay. Similarly, when it comes to expository essay, it also has its own distinguished or salient features, which makes it different from a descriptive essay or a narrative essay for that matter. So when you're talking about an expository essay, the purpose of an expository essay is to inform. So you can inform your reader by explaining or defining a topic. Now, the next thing that you have to remember is information varies. Like there are information which people accept, and there are information which people, do not give heed to. Now, so in order to provide information, when you are providing an information to your readers, your information should be valid, it should be authentic, it should be from a reliable source. So, credibility plays a vital role here. It's very important. So when you write an expository essay, and when you start providing information to your readers, those information should be supported by, valid facts and figures, or authentic facts and figures and statistics. And you can also use cause and effect relationships or examples. So now let's talk about the facts and figures that are providing in your expository essay. So the type of facts and figures that you choose should be done very carefully. It should support the claim that you have stated in your essay. And when you select your facts and figures, it should come from a credible source, reliable source. Let me give an example here. Imagine that I'm talking to you and I'm providing information to you. So if I go on and say like, my son who is studying in class 8 claims that eating a lot of chilies will actually help you to stay away from coronavirus. So how will you respond to me? Maybe you'll say like, thank you for your information, but please mind your own business. But on the other hand, if I say that the health minister, who is also a doctor, claims or advises us to increase our quantity of chili in our diet to help avoid coronavirus, then how will you respond to this claim or to this information? I'm sure the very next day, the cost of chili in the market will skyrocket. So see, the source that the information is coming from has a vital role to play. So for that, when you provide information, you have to support it with not just facts and figures from anywhere, but facts and figures that comes from the sources that are reliable. Now let's go on to the third element. So expository essay are usually written in third person point of view. And why is it so? Because the moment you use I or we or us or our, then your information becomes biased, unless you have that credibility to give that information, to claim the authority on the information that you are providing. So it's very important to use third person point of view. So he, she, it, they, and then these are the ways. And we will be discussing more on these elements in our upcoming lesson. So for now, let's get back to the main lesson of the day. That's components of an introductory paragraph. So just the way that we have some features to distinguish one type of genre from another, introductory paragraph also has its own special elements or components. And these components that are there in the introductory paragraph is different from the body paragraph and the concluding paragraph. Similarly, the components that you come across in body paragraph is different from that of introductory paragraph and the closure. And this is true for the closing paragraph as well, or concluding paragraph. Concluding paragraph also has its own components, which is different from that of introductory and the body paragraph. Now, let's look at the components of an introductory paragraph. So, introductory paragraph consists of opening sentence, general idea, specific idea, and thesis statement. We will look at opening sentence first. So, opening sentence. Opening sentence is very important. It has a significant role to play in your introductory paragraph, because introductory paragraph, decides whether your reader will carry on reading rest of your essay, or whether your reader will say, maybe I will read this essay next time when I have nothing else to do. And if this becomes the case, it's very bad. It's very sad news, because I'm sure you would want your reader to read your essay. And then this is the reason why opening sentence is very important. Your opening sentence should be catchy. It should hook the readers. It should be like a magnet which attracts. It should be able to attract the attention of your reader. It sounds like a huge job, a very hard job. But the good news is, it's not so tough. There are techniques, there are ways and means to write an opening sentence. And the techniques are, first, you can make your opening sentence catchy by using figurative language. So figurative language here refers to this imageries, sensory details, and then like figures of speech like simile, metaphor, personification, so on and so forth. Now, let's be reminded here that when we write essay, or essay writing is all about creativity. It's a creative writing. So, like when you frame your opening sentence, it's time for you to be very creative. You can let your imagination soar. Just become very creative. Think of new ideas, new ways, bring freshness into your writing. So this can be done by using figurative language. And the other way is the use of anecdote. I remember watching the lesson on descriptive essay, wherein the anecdote was discussed in quite a detail. So anecdote is a short narration. The only point that I would like to mention here is, when you are using anecdote in your writing, ensure that the anecdote that you have selected actually helps to value add to your essay by emphasizing, by putting an emphasis or underscoring the main idea that's there in your essay. It has to be connected. You cannot just insert an anecdote in your writing because it is interesting or it's funny. You can't do that. It has to be closely linked to the main idea or the dominant idea of your essay. And next, you can make your opening sentence catchy by using interesting facts and figures. So facts and figures should be unusual. It should be outlandish. It can be both pleasant and unpleasant. So, like, for example, if I say 8,000 new cases of coronavirus was detected in New York City in 6 hours time period. So if I say something of this kind, I'm sure it is quite unusual, it is shocking, it is alarming, and that's definitely going to catch hold of the attention of your reader. So this is just one example. So this way you can make use of facts and figures to catch hold of the attention of your reader. And we have questions. Yes, you can have very thought-provoking questions to start off, and then questions which will really make your readers interested to read your essay. Now let's see, in a introductory paragraph, the other thing that you need to take care of is, like, after having written down your opening sentence, the next job is to jot down your general idea. And after having written down this general idea, then you start narrowing down that general idea very slowly. And once you have narrowed down the general idea, it will help you to arrive at the specific idea. And once you arrive at the specific idea, you're ready to write your thesis statement. We will discuss this in detail shortly. And your thesis statement should contain 3 main points. Thesis statement for class 9 and 10 students, the recommendation is, your thesis statement should be one sentence, and then it should contain 3 main points. Now, once again, this is not mandatory. You must have realized that when you read the essays that are given in your text, reading and literature, you must have realized that thesis statement is not always one sentence. It can be written in more than one sentence, and thesis statement do not always arrive as the very last sentence of your introductory paragraph. Thesis statement can be anywhere. It can be right towards the beginning of your introductory paragraph, or it can feature in the middle of your introductory paragraph, and not always as the last sentence in your introductory paragraph. This is because maybe if you put this thesis statement as a last sentence in the introductory paragraph, maybe it will ease the work for students or for a beginner and amateur writers like you and me. So I have an example here, and with this example I'll help you to understand how general idea is narrowed down, and how we come to specific idea, and how that specific idea is further developed into thesis statement. So let us look at this example. It's my pet, and this example, this essay is an example of a descriptive essay. So see, my pet is the title, and then the first line says, animals are our link to paradise. So the writer here has tried to be creative by using figures of speech. So animals are our link to paradise. Definitely it is figures of speech, and in particular hyperbole. So because there's a lot of exaggeration there. The next sentence says, people kept animals in the olden days mainly to help them in their daily lives. Then let's go to the third sentence. In some of the villages of Bhutan, domestic animals are still very important. Animals give them milk, cheese, butter, fertilizers, etc. However, animals are also kept by families as pets just to love and care them. I also have a pet named Puppy. It's a beautiful dog and I love it very much. It is one of my best friends as it loves me, plays with me and understands me. Now let's analyze this introductory paragraph. So that first sentence or opening sentence, and then the second sentence, if you look at the second sentence, it says, people kept animals. So people here refers to the world. Not, and because in the third sentence you see that in some of the villages of Bhutan. So here we are talking about the second sentence actually has a general idea, because it is including everyone in this world. People kept animals. And then in the third sentence, in some of the villages of Bhutan. So already the idea is being narrowed down. So from world we have come to Bhutan. And then let's go to further down. Animals give them milk, cheese, butter, fertilizers, etc. So we are talking about domestic animals. Why do people give domestic animals? Because they are benefited by them. So that's the meaning until now. And then this author has used the word however. So however is a discourse marker, and however, words like however and but helps us to write opposite idea. The reason I'm saying this is because until now the author has been writing about domestic animals and how it benefits us. But after writing however, look at what does the sentence has to say. It says animals are also kept by families as pet just to love and care them. So you see, just to love and care them is talking about unconditional love. So people just don't give animals to be benefited, but some people, they give animals just to love and care them. Then let's come further down. It says, I also have a pet named Puppy. So this sentence is, this sentence has specific idea. Now the writer has arrived to a specific idea, because after talking about domestic animal, then it talks about pet. After mentioning pet, then the writer talks about a pet named Puppy. So from there, the readers will get to know that this essay is going to talk about author's pet, only about author's pet, and not the neighbor's pet or like somebody's pet. It's going to be, the essay is going to be on author's pet. That's the understanding we arrive at. It's a beautiful dog. So the author is talking about Puppy here. It's a beautiful dog, and I love it very much. Then she goes on to say, it is one of my best friends as it loves me, plays with me, and understands me. So this last sentence is a thesis statement because it has three main points mentioned there. It is one of my best friends as it loves me is point number 1, plays with me is point number 2, and understands me is point number 3. So see, you write your opening sentence and then you mention your general idea, then you narrow it down and arrive at specific idea, and that specific idea helps you to develop your thesis statement. I hope it's clear to you. We'll have a practice. So this is another essay. It's an example of an expository essay. I'll provide you a minute to go through this introductory paragraph and then maybe identify the components of an introductory paragraph. Your time starts now. Right, your time is up. I'm sure you must have identified some of the components, if not all. Now, let's look at it together. The title of the essay is Forest Fire, and this essay was submitted to me by one of my students. Okay, so let's start. The first sentence says, although Bhutan wears the crown of biodiversity, it is, however, affected by the natural disasters such as earthquake, forest fire, landslide, flood, etc. quite often. So this is our first sentence. Okay, let's go on to the second one. Amongst these dangerous natural disasters, forest fire has proved to be one of the most destructive disasters. Forest fire brings a lot of changes in weather condition throughout the country, increases human-wildlife conflict, and also leads to global warming. So this is an introductory paragraph. Let's analyze. So let's look at this first sentence. Although Bhutan wears the crown of biodiversity, it is however affected by natural disaster such as earthquake, forest fire, landslide, flood, etc. quite often. So this sentence is a complex sentence. It's an example of a complex sentence. It starts with although, and then it goes on and says Bhutan wears the crown of biodiversity. So this is a dependent clause. This is a dependent clause or subordinate clause. This is a dependent clause, and this dependent clause contains opening sentence. Here, once again, the child has used figures of speech, and in this case, it's personification. It's personification because Bhutan is given life. Bhutan is wearing crown. She is a queen or a king. So, and then the meaning here is Bhutan is very rich in natural resources. She's very rich in natural resources. And whereas if you analyze this dependent clause or the main clause, it says it is however affected by natural disaster such as earthquake, forest fire, landslide, flood, etc. quite often. So once again, that word however is helping us to insert opposite or contradictory idea. So in the beginning, the message is Bhutan is very rich in natural resources. It's healthy, it is robust. So the understanding the reader derives from this clause is that Bhutan may be very safe. It may not be affected by natural disaster. Then the author goes on and says, the writer goes on and says that, however, it is affected by a number of natural disasters. And she goes on and lists the natural disasters that affects Bhutan. Let's look at the second sentence. Amongst these dangerous natural disasters, forest fire has proved to be one of the most destructive disasters. So what is this second sentence doing? The second sentence has already narrowed down the general idea. And where is the general idea? The general idea is right there in sentence number 1. The main clause or the independent clause contains general idea. So in one sentence, this child has inserted opening sentence as well as general idea. And the second sentence, she has narrowed down it, and then she has already arrived at specific idea. And the specific idea here is forest fire. So this gives us a clue that this essay is going to talk about forest fire. And the specific idea of forest fire is further developed into thesis statement. And the thesis statement is forest fire brings a lot of changes in weather condition, point number 1. Increases human-wildlife conflict is point number 2, and leads to global warming is point number 3. So in this essay, this child is going to write about only these 3 things, meaning that the essay that is going to be developed, that the child is going to write will discuss only these 3 main points and nothing more, nothing less about forest fire. So this is how you develop your introductory paragraph. And next we have a recap. Let's revise our lesson. The question I have is, list down the components of an introductory paragraph. Your think time starts now. I hope you had the following points: opening sentence, general idea, specific idea, and thesis statement with 3 main points. In our next class, we will discuss in detail on thesis statement. We will, learn how to develop thesis statement. Now, you have an assignment. You are to write an introductory paragraph either on one of the questions given below, or you're free to choose your own topic. You can select a topic that you feel comfortable or you're interested and then start writing an introductory paragraph on it. So these are the questions: importance of cultivating reading habit, effects of global warming, benefits of winter camps for students, advantages of participating in extracurricular activities. So you are free to choose from here. And next I have checklist, and this checklist will help you, will guide you to find errors or setbacks in your introductory paragraph, and it will also help you to redraft your introductory paragraph. Until then, thank you for listening to me, and see you next time.